Hey audience, how you doing? I'm trying to get my camera situated. Hopefully this is it, but I don't think so. Um, okay, I'm doing a video. I want to show you that what happened during the Civil War when the Southern Confederate States wanted to push their slavery north. The North had to put a limit and said that's enough. And I forget the state that the war broke out in, but the gunshots started, and that was it. Because the left wouldn't give up their ideology, the right won't give up theirs, and what happens is we're coming up to what's called a constitutional crisis. I want you to understand our political system, geopolitical system, our campuses in America. I want you to see the difference between Muslim nations. I want you to understand that America has brought a lot of this on themselves through the printing press, 40 trillion in debt, BRICS, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They want to take away our currency, and China wants to become this new global power instead of the U.S., and they call the America the foreign devil. So we have Trump comes in and he sees, holy cow, the past 50 years of America, America is on the whole wrong course. We don't do regime changes. We don't do nation building. That didn't work out. We have destroyed a lot of Muslim countries. So why he got such a good, Trump got a good reception in the Middle East was he says America was wrong and America is going to change and wants to trade with you guys, wants to build your nations up, wants peace in the globe. He's got wants to make peace in Ukraine and Russia, which we basically started that war. I know a lot of listeners might disagree with me, but we started that war in Ukraine by listen. If Putin put in biolabs in Mexico, put his troops in Mexico and Canada, we would have a serious problem with them. We wouldn't allow it. Well, why would we allow he the 2014 Ukraine presidency to be overthrown by the CIA, assassinated the president that was in power, put Zelensky in, and started putting NATO troops, building up NATO troops and putting biolabs and CIA putting troops there. Russia went several times to the UN and said, "Hey, get out of Ukraine. You're not taking you're treating the Donbass region. There was another region that's all Russian speaking. He started Zelensky in Ukraine started going after the Russian provinces, the Russian people, and jailing them, putting them in secret prisons, putting their pastors, nuns, uh, in jail, the priests in jail. He suspended the election, uh, and you know, basically provoked a war. Now, after 3 weeks, the war starts. Istanbul, Turkey. Let's look it up yourself. Don't believe me. Do your own research. They had a peace treaty. Russia was starting to withdraw their troops, and Boris Johnson comes in from the UK and tells Zelensky, "Oh, NATO's going to support you and rip up the peace agreement." NATO never took in Ukraine because they're too corrupt. Okay, they're never going to join NATO. And now Russia's got majority, probably 50% of Ukraine belongs to Russia right now, and they're starting to bomb Kyiv. And Russia's worried about who's going to be the president in the next 3.5 years because if we get another administration in like Biden, they're hostile to Russia. Ru- uh, Trump wants to trade with Russia. He doesn't want Russia as an enemy. He doesn't want to outcast. We have sent after Russia knocked down their wall in 1989. Remember the famous Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev tear down this wall. Well, they tore it down, and then we threw them to the dogs. We threw them to the dogs again. We broke every treaty we've made with Russia. So the U.S. chose this past 50 years from the start of Lyndon B. Johnson taking prayer out of school, uh, uh, causing this 501c3 tax ID number to sell out all our pastors in America. He started the Vietnam War. It was a false flag from the Gulf of Tonkin. From that point, we have become an evil nation. And we have won $40 trillion in debt. We can't pass and USAID had, um, 80% of it was fraud. I want you to listen to this this video right now. I'm going to put a lot of videos to support what I said. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, follow.
Folks who are duly enrolled wrongly in multiple states for Medicaid. So yeah, you live in New Jersey, but you moved to Pennsylvania, and which state gets your Medicaid? Turns out both states collect money from the federal government. A lot of times within a state, you'll have someone on Medicaid and the exchanges. Again, $14 billion just.
Wait, listen to the beginning of this.
Listen to this. So in today's video, we have some major updates from President Trump. Speaker Johnson has to defend Republicans in regards to the one big beautiful bill, and another judge is blocking deportations.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Well, clearly the president is upset there and frustrated. And in our first story here, this is the president making his way back to the White House, and he's providing some in Ukraine. And I think everybody shares his level of frustration here, because I think I've said this repeatedly. I don't see Putin or Zelensky really committed to ending this war. And for whatever reasons that might be, I think is irrelevant, because at the end of the day, they've had every chance to come to a ceasefire at a minimum. Now, here's the president speaking about the one big beautiful bill and his chances that it will pass in the Senate. Take a listen.
The one big beautiful bill, and it is a big beautiful bill. And so I think the Senate is going to get there. I hope they're going to get there. I think they're going to have changes. Some will be minor and some will be, fairly significant. But we've been working with the House all the way up. They've been working together. And the Speaker has been working with the leader of the Senate. And, they've done a great job. John Thune and Mike Johnson have done a fantastic job. They've been working together all the way up. So hopefully that'll be fine.
Yeah, so I share the president's optimism, but let's just be real here. The reason why Congress hardly accomplishes anything great is because of the issue you just heard him bring up. They're going to make changes to this bill. What are those changes? I'm interested to know. And will those changes be in alignment with what President Trump wants? Now, understand something. Just because it passed in the House does not mean it's going to pass in the Senate, vice versa. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the end, because remember, the deadline is July 4th. And also the president provided an update in regards to the EU and the 50% tariffs he was looking to place on them starting June 1st. Take a listen.
Commission President von der Leyen, did you discuss the 50% tariffs, and did you agree to release?
She just called me, as you know, and she asked for an extension on the June 1st date. And she said she wants to get down to serious negotiation, because I've told you specifically, but I told anybody that would listen, they have to do that. And we had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it. I believe June 9th would be, July 9th would be the date. That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
Now, those were just a few updates from the president as he makes his way back to the White House today. But now what I want to do is move to our next story. And this is about Speaker Mike Johnson continuing to defend Republicans and the big beautiful bill, because mainstream media and Democrats continue to claim that Medicaid is being cut. And yes, we're going to bring the facts for you so you can see it for yourself. Let's start here.
The CBO found that nearly 8 million Americans will in fact lose their insurance coverage because of the changes this bill makes to Medicaid. So how do you reconcile that with what President Trump said?
It's directly in line with what the president said. I've said the same. We are not cutting Medicaid in this package. There's a lot of misinformation out there about this, Jake. The numbers of Americans who are affected are those that are entwined in our work to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse. And what do I mean by that? You got more than 1.4 million illegal aliens on Medicaid. Medicaid is not intended for non-U.S. citizens.
Why would you give 1.4 million immigrants Medicaid? Why would you take a school in Chicago, a grammar school, close it, then open it up and house illegal immigrants that you said you had no money for social programs, but you found $60 million to convert the school into a shelter for migrants. Why are people that come into this country, the United States allows 1 million people a year into their country legally. We can't afford illegal immigration. And all these judges do and the left does is fight every single thing the president does. They have 225 lawsuits on them. And the point is, some of our states are destroyed. If Trump didn't come in, we don't even know if this is going to lead to not a physical revolution. I'll explain why.
It's intended for the most vulnerable populations of Americans, which is pregnant women and young single mothers, the disabled, the elderly. They are protected in what we're doing because we're preserving the resources for those who need it most.
Now, it seems that we've been talking about Medicaid every single day since the announcement of the big, beautiful bill. So let me refresh you exactly what the debate is. According to Democrats, Republicans are going to cut Medicaid benefits for American citizens who are qualified to receive these benefits. They're going to put them out on the streets and they're going to die. That is their rhetoric. Now, for the Republicans, they're after illegal aliens who have been receiving these benefits, even though Democrats deny this is happening. We're going to show you the proof. And also able-bodied men in particular who are younger individuals, probably in their 20s, even 30s, who do not have a disability and should not be getting Medicaid. And here's Exhibit A to prove the point that illegal aliens, they are receiving Medicaid benefits. According to California Department of Finance, the state of California will spend more than $8.4 billion on taxpayer-funded Medicaid health benefits for illegal aliens this year. And that is over $5 billion more than initially estimated. Last year, California became the first state to offer free taxpayer-funded health care through Medicaid to all illegal aliens in the state. And Democrats
Mind you, California is $70 billion in debt, but they still want to spend Americans' money on giving illegal immigrants that don't belong in this country health care to put $4 more billion of debt, and they want the government to bail them out. Hey, we're just going to do what we want with our state, and hey, the U.S. government will bail us out. We can run our state in the ground. We could steal all the money. Mayor Best could buy an $8 million mansion. Governor Newsom a $16 million mansion. Where'd all that money come from? Nobody questions it. It should be questioned. There's a sheriff that's running for governor. I forget his name. Shame on me. But I pray that he gets an office over Governor Newsom. He's the worst governor in the history of the United States.
are mad that Republicans are trying to stop that from happening. That's ludicrous.
You're talking about 4.8 million able-bodied workers, young men, for example, who are on Medicaid and not working. They are choosing not to work when they can. That is called fraud. They are cheating the system. When you root out those kinds of abuses, you save the resources that are so desperately needed by the people who deserve it and need it most. That's what we're doing, and that's why this is the morality of what we're doing here is precisely right, and it comports.
Wow, wasn't that misrepresented to the public? Oh, they're going to take Medicaid away from everybody who's going to be in the streets dying. That's not what's happening. They knew that's not what's happening. They lie. But their ideology and their legal warfare and their riots and their protests are insane.
Reports with all the public opinion polls. When people ask whether young men, for example, who are able-bodied and have no dependents should be working, everybody says yes. And that's what our package does. So these estimates that you're hearing are accurate, but it's dealing with those numbers of people in the population, and that's going to make preserve the program and strengthen it for those who need it most.
Now, I get this impression, and I don't know about you, and if you can relate to me, just let me know in the comments section, that anytime Republicans
the importance of our country remaining who and what we are. This is a president who has not only set our Constitution on fire, he's challenging the courts, every check and balance that exists. He is someone who does not believe in it, turning our country into something that we have never seen.
Yeah, so it seems to me that these pundits, the experts, are still disconnected from true reality. And that's just an unfortunate take.
So we have our college campuses run by Muslim ideology, birthas, setting up tents, disrupting anti-Semitic behavior, disrupting the campus, disrupting people to freely go to school. And when they revoke the visas for people that are involved in these burning American flags, if you come here to study, you can't be a crusader and burn an American flag. Sorry, go back to your country then. You don't belong here. We want people to come in and study, go back to your country, uplift your country, or come and work in this country and uplift this country. We don't want you to get to block education from people. And we're sick of Muslim. This is a Christian Judeo nation that doesn't apologize. If you want a Hindu nation, go to India. You want a Buddha nation, go to Japan. You want a Muslim nation, go to the Middle East. Because God says, I am the Lord thy God over all nations. Well, guess what? All nations don't worship him. And all this, we're going to give you 40 acres and a mule reciprocity. You know what? Sorry, dude. Listen, America was on a wrong, was the first country that we forged away from the British and got away from their tyranny. Did we have slavery? Yes. Did we correct it? Yes. Every country has been forged in slavery, and every country today still has slavery. And guess what? The other day on Fox News yesterday, they stopped a U-Haul van in Arizona that had 2 Mexican non-English speaking drivers, obviously from the cartel. And they opened up the back and had 16 Chinese nationalists in there that don't speak a word of English. They were going to go get human traffic to wherever they were going. This exists in our country. Trump has a huge problem. He's got to put up the war in Ukraine, Israel, make sure Iran doesn't get a nuke. Our fair trade with the EU, our fair trade with China, stopping China from taking our reserve currency, BRICS, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They want to start their own currency. We can't allow that. Somebody's going to lead the globe. The next 5 years, AI is going to lead. China's going to be involved in AI, or America. And America needs to use all their nuclear power, all their oil, all their natural gas, sell it to our allies. Stop with the Green New scam. The world's not ending in 4 years from the pollution of a cow fart. Stop. I mean, the policies, the insanity that the devil has allowed America to take part in and take away America. America, if Trump didn't get in, it would have been insolvent in 4 to 6 years, insolvent, done. And we would have probably been in a hot war with China. We would have been able to stop no wars. Trump came in and is barely able to get these things done. I want to show you another video. I'm going to get it queued up for you. Just for another, listen to this part of the video. Okay.
Well, I think we're going to make sure the American people understand what's in this bill. It is completely incoherent. The Republicans can't agree on what they're trying to do with it. And the cuts to Medicaid are going to be devastating to rural America and to rural Colorado. I've spent a ton of time listening to healthcare providers in red parts of the state that voted for Donald Trump that are not engaged in waste, fraud, and abuse. They're engaged in trying to deliver health care on a shoestring as it is.
Yeah, see, this is the thing I despise when it comes to Democrats. They get all emotional and start screaming about the American who is struggling financially. But these are the same people who voted for policies that have caused the struggle to take place. And then they try to blame it on Republicans and say, well, see, they're the ones that are doing it to America. They're the one hurting Americans. Okay, so in our second story here, Marco Rubio delivers a warning.
Burnout isn't just about feeling tired. It's your brain sending a signal.
Violent criminal illegal aliens to South Sudan. Let's first hear the details on that, and then I'll give you my reaction. Take a listen.
Marco Rubio says the recent ruling blocking deportation flights to South Sudan will cause significant and irreparable harm to United States foreign policy. The Trump administration has filed 2 court documents challenging the move, arguing, quote, this situation urgently requires judicial intervention to restore President Trump's full authority to conduct foreign policy. The deportees are currently being held at a U.S. naval base while the court weighs its decision.
All right, so there's really 2 things. Number 1, what the president had to say. Number 2, what the White House did as a response to the story. They posted the mugshot and the crimes of each of the illegal aliens. Now, this is what the president said. I'm just going to keep it short here for you. The judges are absolutely out of control. They're hurting our country, and they know nothing about particular situations or what they are doing, and this must change immediately. Hopefully, the Supreme Court of the United States will put an end to the quagmire that has been caused by the radical.
See the constitutional crisis that's coming? So what happens if the court rules that Trump can't do what he does. Do you think Trump's going to stop trying to save this country? No. What happens if the court rules for the Christianity, for the right side, for the right? Do you think the left is going to stop? No. They have judges that actually got arrested for sneaking people out of court. They file motions against him, usurping his powers. They block things in Senate committee hearings, Intelligence Committee hearings. I mean, and all they have to offer is, I hate Trump and he's against the Constitution. When they're the ones who let in millions of people in our country that we can't afford to have, they're the ones that put 1,600 January 6 people in prison. One of them got 22 years in prison for just being the head of Proud Boys. And Proud Boys means they want you to be a better brother, a better nephew, a better son, a better husband, be a better person. And they protect Trump supporters when they go to rallies from being jumped by Antifa and Black Lives Matter, who seem to fizzle out at this time. But remember the 579 riots, the Summer of Love, the blocks that they took over? Not one of those people went to jail, except the person who shot that person in the head in Oregon, and a couple others. But they took a guy who was not even in the Capitol, charged him with sedition, trespassing, and he got charged and was doing 22 years till Trump pardoned him. Thank God Trump pardoned those 1,600 people. Thank you, Trump, for that illegal panel with January 6th. And it comes to find out, Adam Schiff, Tisha James, the Fannie Willis, they're all seriously committed mortgage fraud. Mayor Bass committed mortgage fraud, all of them. But they're the ones that say the right is committing crimes, and they're committing the crimes as we speak and wanting to shovel money, bankrupt our country as fast as they can, shovel money to other countries for all this stupid ideology that they don't even care about. With USAID, it's their slush fund. And the left it's coming to a point of almost like the Civil War, where the Confederates were just saying, no, we're just going to continue doing what we're doing. And the North was saying, no, you're not. And guess what? The push came, and guess what? The violence came. So what happens? We're coming to a constitutional crisis, to the Supreme Court to rein in these judges and get back our country to the Constitution and Christian Judeo values. I don't apologize for being white or being Christian. I invite other races in our country, but it's 60% prominently white. It's devoted to Jesus Christ, and I'm glad that God honored our country and blessed our country, because it's helped stop World War I, World War II, and it's helped break away from the British, and it helped stop slavery. We're in the first country to have a constitution that allowed civil rights violations to be acknowledged.
Left. Yeah, I'm not too sure. My hopes are not high, given what I've seen from the Supreme Court up to this point. Now, let's take a look at these criminals and their crimes.
ICE identified the men, all of whom have egregious criminal convictions. We're talking murderers here, sex offenders, rapists of children, and the handicapped. And this is who they're protecting. And the Biden regime aiding and abetting, incentivizing, protecting these men, including this guy.
So why are they doing this? Why wouldn't they just go, wow, I'm so happy you got a murderer, a rapist, a person that beat up a disabled person with 30 punches to the face, someone who raped a child, forcibly raped, child pornography. Why wouldn't you don't want people like this? And they're first of all, crossed our border illegally. Get out of here. And that's common sense. But the left doesn't have common sense. They're evil, and they will not stop with their lawfare. And they found judges in the United States. Our United States has been invaded and occupied, and we have to get it back. And thank God Donald Trump got a commission from, he got shot at in divine intervention. He didn't get killed. He knew that if he was coming back for the presidency, he was facing 300 years. But he came back anyway, and he took a chance, and he won. He knows if these tariffs don't work, he's done. The next presidency is done. And we're going to have to fight these people a little harder than we're fighting them. But it just seems like it's their ideology against ours, and they're not stopping.
A 24-year-old Venezuelan who Ohio cops say was arrested for pretending to be a 16-year-old high school student. Do you think he's the only illegal alien adult who is pretending to be a kid right now? There's no way to tell. A Biden official admitting that child migrants, they're not vetted because they can't vet them. They don't have the paperwork, so they just let them in.
Now, let's understand exactly what's going on here in case you're still...
Of illegal aliens. The ex-president's battle with the manage the activities of our Defense Department, of our federal immigration officers, of our cabinet secretaries. In other words, judges who will claim the powers of a king, all for the purpose of the mass importation of illegal aliens. The Democrat Party has as its highest focus, its orienting, overwhelming mission, the mass importation of illegal aliens into this country, mass third world migration. That is what the entire Democratic Party now serves and exists for, not the American people.
Now, I've given you what the facts are. Now, I've given you my opinion, the facts, and including what Stephen Miller had to say.
So far as to secretly ship migrants to South Sudan, defying a Supreme Court order. At the center of it all is a dangerous legal theory that the president's word is law. And here's the glaring irony that should offend each and every American. Trump owes his freedom, perhaps even his presidency, to the very due process protections that he's now trying to dismantle. Throughout his first term and throughout his...
He's not trying to dismantle them, he's trying to save them.
His second campaign, his legal teams used every tool in the book to delay trials and avoid consequences. Now that he holds power, he claims America can no longer afford those protections. He said it would take 200 years to give every immigrant a fair trial. White House advisor Stephen Miller was even more blunt, declaring if you illegally invaded our country, the only process you are entitled to is deportation.
That's correct. Most conservatives believe that.
Going in the role of commander-in-chief, and they have some specific reason to be there in that position, I think I can understand that. Yeah. But Donald Trump is certainly the first president who has gone and given a speech that veered into the political in front of the military, and I've always been uneasy about that. Yeah. Now this is taking it to a whole other level. He's got the hat. Yeah. I don't know if he was worried about his hair or something, but like it was clearly not just there in his role as commander-in-chief. And there was some, I guess, some elements of it that were a normal commencement speech, but it is politicizing the military in a way that I'm just very uncomfortable with in general, and presidents have done it a lot, and now we're just getting further and further down this road. I don't think that's what the service academies are for, to have politics injected in this country, and it should have nothing to do with everything else that's going on in Washington. So I find it very uncomfortable, and I sort of always have.
Okay, well, listen.
See, in service to our country is not DEI half hour a day during the military. It's not transgender. It's not woke ideology. It's not white people suck and white people are evil. White people have done more. Christianity has done more for this globe in this country than any country on earth. We stopped World War I. We stopped World War II. Just get that by itself. We have spread wealth through the whole globe. Did 1968, did we lose our way? Yes. Are we gaining our way back right now? Yes, with President Trump is trying to correct all these things. But we have to get these people out of the country. I want you to hold on. I'm going to go to another. You know what? I've decided to end this video here. I'm going to let him finish for a minute, and then we're done.
If we just take his word for it, that would mean we would be able to find clips of him criticizing President Biden because he was political in his commencement speeches as well. Oh, that's right. There are no clips because, again, Democrats are filled with hypocrisy everywhere you go. So I'm not buying how he feels about this, and he doesn't like the speech, and he doesn't like that President Trump wore.
But do you realize how many people were on that ideology? Our country's divided in half. We can no longer coexist with the left. I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to put out another one that puts part 2 on. Thank you guys for watching. And that's all. Hope you enjoyed the video.